One other thing we should probably mention is there are a couple of alternate versions of one. Specifically, there is a remix version, and there's also a music box version. Let's talk about the remix version. To be honest, I wasn't super impressed with it. It's got Pikachu and Shaman, of course it's Shaman's Japanese voice, since this is a Japanese song, they just say their names like most Pokemon, so there's not really a lot there. I don't think it really gives me that much more than, say, the... Like compared to the movie 7, the Lovely Boy, nearly 10-minute remix there, I think, gives us a little bit more because we have the performer herself adding some things in there, and it's a much longer mix. This version for this movie, I don't think is quite as interesting, and I don't like Shaman's Japanese voice as much either. It's not totally grating. For some reason, maybe it's just because Shaman is mostly green on top, that it gives me it reminds me of Lemmings, and by that I mean the video game and the little pieces of voice that they have in there. It seems like a Japanese sort of version of that, and Lemmings actually did have some success in Japan, so that's just totally anecdotal and just me sort of making stuff up. I really doubt that there was any correlation there. It just kind of reminds me of that. What about you, Anne?
Well, I don't know about the Lemmings, although now I have images of keeping a Shaman as like a guinea pig sort of pet. But yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the Pikachu Shaman like remix. I can see kids loving it or liking it, I guess, but you're right, it's not quite as fun as it should be if they're going to do something like that. So yeah, I just don't have much to say about it.
Kind of a missed opportunity. What I think I would have liked to have seen here, or heard here, I should say, is them to do sort of like some sort of, like we were talking about earlier, either based on Shaman's alternate forms, or alternatively, something that sort of was themed more after the reverse world, like it had a totally different instrumentation or something like that gave it sort of more of a...
Oh my gosh!
...ethereal or wandering feeling, something that gives the somewhat Escher-like nature of that side of reality that we see in the movie, brings that into the mix somehow. I'm not sure exactly how that would work out, but I would like them to have been a little more ambitious here. What about you?
Well, that is a thought. Like, you know what? If we're gonna be ambitious, let's have one with, like, Giratina, Dialga, and Palkia singing. Let's just go all out.
It could be on the cutting room floor, you never know.
And the unknown. Let's just have them go crazy, and, like, Magnetron providing a little dubstep in the background.
Who knows? But getting back on track, there is one other version that I think is pretty neat. There's a music box version that I believe is on the Score album. I don't know how much to really say about it. It's just kind of a nice alternate version. You know, this was actually how I first heard the song. I didn't pick up the single until actually much later, so this was sort of my introduction to one. And any other thoughts on the music box version?
Not especially. Like, the ones I kind of gravitated to were the ones released on the proper single, which were the Cornelius remix and the Dex Pistols remix. To be fair, I don't like either of them as much as the actual song, but like we were saying in the main part of the episode, because of the different vibe I guess this song is on, like, you know, it is R&B, but like the rhythm and the drive of the song is less through the vocals and more through the instrumentation. You can play around with the rhythm a little bit. And so I think both of those remixes, while neither of them kind of take the song to a new level so that I appreciate it as much as the original, they are quite interesting. I don't know if I can quite describe them other than to say they're a bit more, like, clubby. But...
Maybe it's kind of like, I actually have not heard those two. I didn't really remember that they existed, but maybe they're like some of the darker remixes of Don't Say You Love Me and The Power of One that clearly were not really intended for the Pokemon audience, were more for like late night at a club or something like that, and they have some very interesting use of looping and stuff like that. Does that maybe sound...
Exactly. Yeah, and like I said, I think it's that exact reason why it doesn't appeal to me quite as much as the original, because it's less I feel that they're trying to do something new with the song as much as trying to make it so that you could use it more versatilely in a DJ situation, basically. And they're very interesting, but they don't exist to, like, level up the song to a new place in the same way that, I don't know, other types of remixes would. Like, in the same way, like, Yasutaka Nakata remixes a lot of Capsule and Perfume stuff. Like, it just basically makes it into a new song. That's not quite what this is. This is more to remix it so that DJs can play one alongside all their other pop tracks and kind of keep the extended track going, basically.
I see.
A Thailand dub? I didn't even know that existed.
Yeah, so.
Like, the day Spotify and iTunes and all those places figure out a way to handle the copyrights across nations so that we can all easily listen to these things, like, oh, it's gonna be a wonderful day.
Yeah, that's I mean, that's the reason I just can't use these more, I guess you could say, mainstream streaming services. Why I kind of have to stick to YouTube is just the availability.
It's
is
tough,
not
yeah.
Where I would like, and I understand some of the legal reasons for that, but it's still kind of a bummer.
Yeah, and you want, like, the streaming royalties to get back to the artist, and they don't always if you don't have a service that's able to, make those connections. So, like I said, the sooner they can figure out how to work that all out internationally, we're all going to be there with our wallets. Like, that went off in a weird direction. Non-Pokemon related.